hayo, ajna hayo, hayo, yin, hayo, hayo, way high, hayo, majna heck, hayo, mabu, haya, haya, yo, 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 hayo, way, hayo, yin, hayo, way, hayo, 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 ajna, hey, hayo, hey, hayo, hayo, hey, hayo, hayo, hey, hayo, hey, hi, hayo, mayo, way, hi, hey, hayo, ajna, hey, hayo, hey, hayo. Hayo, hayo, way hayo, hey hayo, way hayo, hayo, hayo. Lila and the Autumn Quartz by Vlatka Herzberg. Lila pushed open the door to the bustling cafe. Immediately, she felt a wave of noise and energy wash over her. She heard the clinking of cups, the hum of conversation, and she felt the intensity of people's emotions. She was a sensitive, so she hesitated in the doorway. Her heart was fluttering. She felt this energy kind of pulsing and racing through her body. Her stomach tightened. She could feel the onset of her anxiety. So she remembered she had brought a crystal friend to help her. So she reached into her pocket and she felt that familiar, smooth surface of her autumn quartz. So she looked at it up close because she remembered also that if she looked at something far away and then something up close, it would help her to ground. And so she did that. And she gazed into this beautiful crystal with its limonite and hematite inclusions. And she gazed at the deep reds. She admired those golden yellows and those rusty browns. It reminded her of the autumn leaves outside that she had seen in the trees that she passed as she walked into the cafe. She took a deep breath. She wrapped her fingers around the stone, feeling its steady, strong energy. And she looked for a place to sit where it wasn't as crowded. And she saw a place near a window. And so she went over there quickly. She sat down. She glanced out the window. And she noticed those trees lining either side. Their branches were swaying ever so gently in the autumn breeze. The leaves were such vibrant colors, orange and gold and crimson, and just looking at those beautiful colors helped her calm a little bit. So she took a deep breath, squeezed her crystal, and walked over to order a croissant and a cup of calming tea. She came back, glanced out the window, again, holding the crystal in her hand. She remembered something her grandmother once told her. It was a grounding technique inspired by the way that trees shed leaves. One time when Lila was having an anxiety attack, her grandmother helped her by imagining she was a tree. So Lila closed her eyes in the moment. She held the crystal in her hand. It was warming up in her hand. And she began to breathe, following her breath, taking 4 counts in, holding, and taking 4 counts out. She brought her attention to the floor and imagined that her feet were roots. She looked outside at the trees just to get a sense of the details of the way they looked. And then she closed her eyes again, imagining herself becoming one of those trees with strong roots that reached deep into the earth, giving her strength and stability. So as she held her autumn quartz, she visualized breathing the earth energy in and then releasing with her exhale some of the anxiety. And in that moment, she opened her eyes and she saw one of the leaves fluttering down. And so she imagined that her anxiety was like leaves falling to the ground. She breathed in the earth's calmness. Then she opened her eyes and gazed at the crystal. She looked at its shimmering light. It almost looked like it had layers of inclusion. She imagined that her anxiety was like layers that she could peel away, that she could just shed. She opened her eyes and looked at the trees outside again. The colors were so bright and vivid. And just looking at them helped her to calm down a little more. Just then she heard her name being called and her order was ready. So feeling calmer and more confident, she walked over, grabbed her cup of tea and her croissant. She sat back down by the window. She took her time and gazed at the trees with their colorful leaves. And then she took a sip, allowing herself to smell the smells of chamomile and lavender and mint. She took a little sip. And then once again, she held her autumn quartz, remembering that she could use it as a shield. So she squeezed it and she allowed its energy to bubble her and cocoon her with calming energy and protection. And she remembered that earlier that day, she had actually programmed her crystal with the intention of being grounded. So she said affirmations to herself as she squeezed the crystal. I am grounded, I am safe, and I am present. And in that moment, the cafe seemed a lot less overwhelming. The noise seemed to soften. She felt cocooned by the calm energy of the natural world, by her crystal, by the trees outside. She focused on the leaves fluttering in the wind. She focused on the rhythm of her breath and the reds and yellows and browns of her crystal. And she relaxed, allowing herself to enjoy her tea and her croissant. She gave gratitude. She felt gratitude and gave thanks to the trees, to the leaves, to her autumn quartz, to her grandmother, and to the divine. Knowing that each time that she worked with these techniques and with her crystal, that she had much more calm in her life and was able to handle the anxiety. And each time it lessened and became easier to manage. And that, my friend, is the end of the story for now. Sa-jen. hayo, hayo, Ashna, hayo, hayo, Ashna, hayo, hayo, way, hi, hey, hayo, 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 oh.